My own real estate agent stood in my kitchen and told a buyer my house had mold, termites, and a collapsing roof, while the buyer's phone, recording from her coat pocket, captured every word. Then Vanessa Cole smiled, tapped my marble counter like she owned it, and said, "Honestly, if you want this neighborhood, I know a much safer house 2 streets over." That was the moment I stopped being her client and became her problem. 3 months earlier, I trusted Vanessa with the biggest financial decision of my life. My name is Elena Ramirez, I'm 38, and at the time I was working 12-hour shifts as a charge nurse at Atrium Health in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was selling my little blue Craftsman on Waverly Avenue because my mother, Rosa, had moved in with me after her knee surgery, and we needed a one-level home closer to her doctors. The house wasn't a mansion, but it was mine. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, original pine floors that smelled faintly like lemon oil when the sun hit them, a wide front porch with white columns, and a kitchen I had renovated myself for $42,600 after saving for 5 years. Vanessa Cole, 42, worked for Crown and Key Realty and had sold 2 homes on my street above asking. She wore cream blazers, gold hoop earrings, and perfume that smelled like expensive soap. "Elena, I can get you $735,000, maybe $750,000 if we create urgency," she told me on January 9th, sitting at my dining table with her laptop open. "This house has heart. Buyers love heart." I believed her. She brought me a cinnamon latte, complimented my mother's embroidered curtains, and said, "I treat my clients like family." Those words landed warm back then. I didn't know yet how cold they would feel later. The first signs were small enough to excuse. On January 23rd, after our first open house, Vanessa said only 4 people came through, even though I had watched at least 9 cars pull up from my neighbor Denise's porch across the street. The air was chilly, and I remember gripping a paper cup of coffee so tightly the lid bent. "Maybe they were just neighbors," Vanessa said when I asked. Then on February 2nd, she sent me a feedback report that said, "Buyers concerned about traffic noise." My house was on a quiet street where the loudest thing was Mr. Patel's leaf blower on Saturdays. A week later, she called at 8:47 p.m. Her voice was too bright, almost rehearsed. "We may need to consider a price adjustment." "After 2 weeks?" I asked, my stomach tightening. "Market's shifting," she said. "Better to be realistic than emotional." Then came the strange expenses. She charged me $1,200 for premium digital targeting, but when my cousin Maya searched online from her apartment in Raleigh, my listing barely appeared. The photos looked darker than the ones the photographer had shown me. The porch looked gray. The kitchen looked cramped. The air around me started feeling heavy, like a storm waiting behind a closed door. The truth arrived on February 18th at 10:12 in the morning, through a message from a woman named Claire Whitman. She had toured my house with Vanessa 2 days earlier. I was wiping down my mother's walker in the laundry room when my phone buzzed. "Hi Elena," the message said. "This may be awkward, but is your home actually under contract with foundation issues? Your agent told us not to waste your time." My hand froze on the towel. The dryer hummed behind me, warm and steady, while my pulse started pounding in my ears. I called Claire immediately. "Claire, this is Elena." "What exactly did Vanessa say?" There was a pause. I heard a car turn signal clicking in the background. Then Claire said, "She said you had already accepted a verbal offer from an investor and there were problems with the crawl space. She told us, Elena's desperate, but I wouldn't put my family here." My mouth went dry so fast it hurt. "That's not true," I whispered. Claire's voice softened. "I'm sorry. We loved the house. My husband even said the kitchen felt like home." I sat down on the laundry room floor because my knees felt hollow. The tile was cold through my jeans. My mother called from the living room, "Mija? You okay?" I wasn't. Not even close. At first, I thought maybe Claire misunderstood. I wanted there to be a simple explanation because betrayal is easier to smell from far away than to face in your own kitchen. But once I started digging, the floor dropped another level. I pulled the showing logs from the lockbox app. There had been 26 scheduled showings. Vanessa had only reported 11. 6 agents had left notes saying their buyers were highly interested, but Vanessa had told me, nobody serious yet. Then I found an email buried in my spam folder from an agent named Nathan Price. Elena, following up on our offer of $728,000 submitted February 6. We have not received confirmation from your listing agent. My fingers trembled so hard I typed my reply 3 times. Nathan called me within 5 minutes. We sent the offer with proof of funds, he said. Vanessa replied that you were insulted and wouldn't counter. I never saw it, I said. He went quiet. Then he said, there's more. She encouraged my buyers to look at 1841 Linden Street instead. I knew that house. Same school district, smaller lot, listed for $765,000. When I checked the county records, my skin went cold. The owner was Marla Cole, Vanessa's sister. That was twist number 1. Twist number 2 came an hour later when Denise from across the street knocked on my door holding a folder. Her cheeks were pink from the cold, and she smelled like peppermint gum. Honey, she said, I didn't want to meddle, but I took notes. Denise was retired from the county clerk's office and believed in documentation the way some people believe in prayer. She had written down every open house visitor, every car, every time Vanessa arrived late or left early. She had even printed a screenshot from a neighborhood Facebook group where Vanessa posted, "Seller may be difficult, proceed carefully," under a discussion about my listing. Difficult. I stared at that word until it blurred. That week broke something in me. I called in sick on February 19th and 20th, which I almost never did. My scrubs stayed folded on the chair. The house felt too quiet, every tick of the kitchen clock landing like a tap on my nerves. At 3:16 a.m., I would lie awake staring at the ceiling fan, replaying Vanessa's smile. I lost 7 pounds in 10 days because every meal tasted like cardboard. My mother made caldo de pollo, and even the smell of garlic and cilantro made my throat close. She stole your peace, Mama said one night, sitting beside me on the couch. Her hand was warm over mine. Do not let her steal your backbone too. I wanted to cry, but my eyes felt dry and hot. I felt embarrassed, which made me even angrier. I had handed Vanessa keys to my home, my schedule, my trust, my future down payment. She had walked through my rooms telling strangers I was desperate, unstable, dishonest. The betrayal wasn't just financial. It was personal. She had used my own dream against me. The turning point came on February 24th, when I saw Vanessa's Instagram story. She was standing in front of her sister's house on Linden Street, grinning under a red pending sign. Another win for my amazing buyers, she said into the camera. I watched it twice. On the third time, I noticed Claire Whitman's comment, "Is this the one you said was safer?" My chest went still. Not calm. Sharpened. I called Maya, my cousin, who worked as a paralegal in Raleigh. I need help, I said. Maya didn't ask if I was sure. She said, good. Get a notebook. From now on, we move like chess, not checkers. The plan began with paper. Maya drove to Charlotte the next morning with a scanner, 2 legal pads, and a face that said she had been waiting her whole life for someone to underestimate us. My dining room smelled like printer ink and coffee as we built a timeline. First, we requested every communication from Vanessa in writing. No more phone calls unless North Carolina's one-party recording rules allowed Maya, as a participant, to record her own conversations. Second, I contacted Nathan Price and Claire Whitman and asked if they would provide written statements. Both agreed. Third, I scheduled a consultation with a real estate attorney named Priya Shah. Her office had glass walls, silver pens, and a bowl of lemon candies on the table. She read the documents with a stillness that made my stomach twist. "This is serious," Priya said. "Failure to present offers, steering buyers, undisclosed conflict of interest. We may be looking at damages, commission forfeiture, and a complaint to the North Carolina Real Estate Commission." "So what do I do?" I asked. Priya folded her hands. "You let her keep talking." That was how Maya became Maya Bennett, a pretend buyer relocating from Raleigh with a pre-approval letter from a legitimate lender friend who understood we were testing agent conduct, not making a false offer. Maya used her middle name and her actual phone number. Claire referred her to Vanessa, saying, "You should see Elena's house before it's gone." Vanessa took the bait in under 20 minutes. The showing was set for March 1st at 4:30 p.m. I left the house spotless, fresh eucalyptus in the bathroom, lemon oil on the floors, a vanilla candle unlit on the counter so the scent was soft, not staged. My hand shook as I placed the extra disclosure packets on the island, each one clearly showing no foundation issues, no mold, no termite damage, and a roof replaced in 2020. Maya wore a navy coat with her phone recording in the pocket. She called me from her car before going in. "You ready?" she asked. "No," I said, staring at the live feed from my doorbell camera. "But do it anyway." Vanessa arrived 6 minutes late. I watched her silver Lexus pull up. She stepped out smiling, heels clicking on my walkway like she was entering a stage. Inside, Maya later told me, the house smelled like lemons and clean wood. Vanessa barely turned on the lights. "This one photographs better than it lives," Vanessa said. Maya played innocent. "Really?" "I love the kitchen." Vanessa gave a tiny laugh. "It's pretty, yes. But pretty can hide expensive problems." "What kind of problems?" A pause. Papers rustling. Moisture. Possible pests. "Seller is very emotional. I'd hate for you to get tangled in a messy transaction." My ears rang as I listened later in Priya's office. But the best moment came when Maya asked, "Is there another house you'd recommend?" Vanessa didn't hesitate. "Yes. Linden Street. Much cleaner deal. I can get you in today." Priya's pen stopped moving. She looked up and said, "There it is." Execution happened in 3 steps, each one tighter than the last. On March 3rd, Priya sent Crown and Key Realty a formal demand to preserve all records connected to my listing, including emails, texts, showing feedback, offer submissions, advertising invoices, and internal messages. At 9:02 a.m., Vanessa texted me for the first time in days. "Elena, I just received something strange from an attorney. I'm sure this is a misunderstanding." I replied exactly as Priya instructed, "Please direct all communication to my attorney." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Nothing came through. At 11:40, Nathan forwarded proof that Vanessa had opened his offer email and replied within 4 minutes. At 1:15, Claire sent a signed statement. At 2:30, Denise delivered her folder, complete with handwritten notes, screenshots, and even a photo of Vanessa leaving my open house 40 minutes early while buyers waited on the porch. The near miss came the next day. Vanessa tried to cancel the listing agreement through the brokerage portal and mark the reason as seller uncooperative. If that label stuck, it would muddy everything. Maya caught it because she was refreshing the listing status like she was watching a championship game. "She's trying to rewrite the ending," Maya said. Priya moved fast. By 4 p.m., she had sent a second letter to the managing broker, Richard Hale, warning that any alteration of records after notice could create additional consequences. At 4:17, Richard called me himself. "Elena," he said, his voice tight, "we need to meet tomorrow." The climax happened in a conference room at Crown and Key on March 6. The office smelled like carpet cleaner and nervous sweat. Vanessa sat across from me in a beige blazer, her gold hoops shining under the fluorescent lights. Richard Hale sat beside her, jaw clenched. Priya sat beside me with a blue folder in front of her. Maya was on my other side, calm as stone. Richard began. "We're here to resolve concerns regarding communication." Priya opened the folder. "We're here because Ms. Cole appears to have concealed offers, disparaged her own client's property, and directed buyers toward a property owned by her sister without disclosure." Vanessa's face changed so quickly it was almost satisfying. The polished smile cracked at the corners. "That is absolutely not fair," she said. "Elena misunderstood market strategy." I leaned forward. My palms were damp, but my voice came out steady. "Did you tell Claire Whitman my house had foundation issues?" Vanessa blinked. "I may have mentioned concerns." "Did you tell Nathan Price I was insulted by an offer I never received?" "I was managing expectations." Priya slid the transcript of Maya's recording across the table. Then she pressed play. Vanessa's own voice filled the room. "This one photographs better than it lives. Moisture, possible pests, seller is very emotional. Linden Street is a much cleaner deal." The silence afterward was thick. Richard stared at the speaker like it had personally offended him. Vanessa's lips parted, but no words came out. Maya tilted her head. "You sounded very confident for someone who was just managing expectations." Richard turned to Vanessa. "Is Marla Cole your sister?" Vanessa looked down at her hands. "Vanessa," he said, sharper now. "Yes," she whispered. Priya closed the folder. "We want termination of the listing agreement, return of all fees paid, written confirmation no commission will be claimed, cooperation with my client's complaint, and production of the full file by Friday." Vanessa finally looked at me. For the first time since I'd met her, she looked smaller than the room. "Elena, I was trying to protect the value of the neighborhood," she said. My nails pressed into my palms. "No. You were trying to protect your sister's sale." The aftermath started quietly, which somehow made it more powerful. Crown and Key refunded my $1,200 marketing fee and released me from the contract by the end of the day. Richard sent a written apology that used careful legal language but still felt like a door opening. I relisted with Nathan Price's brokerage on March 12. New photos, honest disclosures, bright listing copy, no shadow games. The first weekend, 34 buyers came through. Denise sat on her porch with iced tea like a security guard in floral slippers. On March 18, I accepted an offer for $752,000 from a young couple named Priya and Daniel Mehta. They wrote me a letter about the kitchen, the porch, and how they could picture their parents visiting on Sundays. When I read it, the knot behind my ribs finally loosened. Vanessa did not get away clean. Priya filed the complaint with the Real Estate Commission. Nathan's buyers filed one too. Claire posted a calm, factual review online. Within a week, 3 more sellers contacted my attorney saying their offers had mysteriously disappeared while Vanessa pushed other properties. But the biggest crack? Marla's Linden Street deal fell apart during final review when the buyers learned about the undisclosed relationship. I moved my mother into our new ranch house in Matthews on April 9. It has a magnolia tree in the front yard, wide hallways, and a sunroom where Mama drinks coffee every morning while the light spills across the tile. I still wake up early, but now it's because birds are loud outside my window, not because betrayal is sitting on my chest. People ask if I regret trusting Vanessa. I don't. Trusting someone wasn't my mistake. Ignoring the chill in my stomach was. I kept one thing from the old house, the brass key to the front door. It hangs on a hook by my new kitchen, not as a reminder of what I lost, but of what I refused to let someone take. Last I heard, Vanessa's name had disappeared from Crown and Key's website, and the commission had requested a formal interview. Her sister's listing is still sitting there, price reduced